When you open your data extraction form, you'll see that it is approximately structured in a Pico format. The first tab is a summary tab that provides a snapshot of your data entered. The second tab is the identification tab. Here you can enter details of the study, such as the setting, sponsorship source, and author details. We've also added the ability to enter custom fields here, as well as under the Methods and Population tabs. Please note that these cannot currently be deleted once they are added, but we are planning to update this. In addition, any custom fields added to your form are study specific. This means that they will not be present on your other forms, even if entered on the template form. For example, you might wish to capture the year that the study was conducted here, so that you can get an idea of the background level of care. The next tab is your Methods tab. Here you can capture details of the design of the study. Covidence is not limited to randomized control trials. You can choose one of our standard options or opt for a custom study design by selecting Other. And entering the design in the text box. Here you can again add custom fields depending on your review. In order to add population data, it's best to first enter details of the interventions. Here you can name the interventions in your study. Again, Covidence is not limited to standard intervention studies only. You could just as easily input an exposure as your intervention. There's also no limit to the number of arms in your studies. In this example, I'll have one intervention versus best supportive care. The intervention characteristics table can be entirely user-defined. Each descriptor that you enter will form a new row in your table. You can enter any type of data in the resulting boxes. You can then enter details of the population of your study. The Population tab allows for you to input the inclusion and exclusion criteria of the participants in your study, as well as there were any notable differences between groups at baseline. As for the Identification and Methods tabs, you can enter any number of additional fields under the Population tab. For example, you might wish to capture details of how the sample size was calculated here. The baseline characteristics table is also customizable. Here, when you add a characteristic, you are adding a row to your table. You can also enter any type of data here. It's not limited to text or numbers. The final tab is for entering your outcomes data or results. To add an outcome, you must have at least one intervention. First, give your outcome a title and choose the type. Which can be either continuous, dichotomous, or adverse event, which is essentially dichotomous. Covidence comes with several standard options which feed directly into RevMan if it is being used. For continuous outcomes, these are mean with confidence interval, standard deviation, or standard error, as well as sample size, n. For dichotomous, these are number of participants and population, percentage and population, log ratios, odds ratios, and risk differences. If you have data reported differently, simply choose the custom effect measure and set up your outcomes table accordingly. Here, the labels that you enter will form the columns in your table, and the interventions form the rows. This is for each time point. In this example, let's choose to enter a continuous outcome, custom effect measure, with the point estimate being the median, the estimate of variation described by the lower and upper interquartile range, include the sample size, as well as whether the p-value was statistically significant or not. You can also capture this additional information. Then, when I enter results data, the table will automatically present columns per time point entered. Here you can see that Covidence will validate your data and show a red box surrounding any unexpected or erroneous data. It's important to note that custom effect measures will not be statistically combined in forest plots in RevMan. Once you've completed your data extraction, simply click Complete. When your co-reviewer has done the same, you'll be able to complete consensus. Once consensus is completed, you'll be able to export your data to Excel or CSV, as well as RevMan.